So I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar here on July 22nd. This is a student accounts specific webinar at Student Financial Solutions, otherwise known as SFS. SFS is the primary billing office at UCSD and responsible for the management of all student accounts. My name is Andrew Weidler and I'm an analyst here at SFS. So a few ground rules and housekeeping items before we get started. A copy of the presentation and the script will be available on our resource page on our website, hopefully the next 1 to 2 weeks. We will send out the link for that shortly after the webinar. We ask that you remain muted, and if you have a busy background, that you turn your video off throughout the duration of the webinar. If you do have questions during the webinar, we encourage you to ask them through the Q&A feature. The chat feature is currently disabled. We will be answering questions through the Q&A, both via text response as well as audio response during the webinar itself. And lastly, we would like to note that this webinar is hosted by SFS, Student Financial Solutions, and not the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office, which is a separate office. The scope of this webinar does not include financial aid awarding, aid revisions, or FAFSA information. While we do briefly speak to pending aid on one of our slides, I just again want to emphasize that the emphasis is non-financial aid related. If you have any specific financial aid related questions, please direct them at the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office. So at this time, I would like to introduce Catalina Aguilar. She's one of our student employees here at SFS. I'm going to ask Kat to speak to you a little bit about her experience, both as a student employee here at our office, as well as just a student at UCSD, and some things to keep in mind when you are beginning this new journey.
Hi everyone, I'm Catalina Aguilar. I'm a fourth-year transfer student here at UCSD, and I'm majoring in ecology, behavior, and evolution. I started working at Student Financial Solutions about a year ago. I started around last July. And when I first transferred here, it was super overwhelming. There's a lot of different things to consider, like academically, financially, and there's just a lot of different information out there. I had a really hard time navigating through like the different websites, trying to get to know Triton Link better, trying to understand the different aspects that come with being a student here at UCSD. And I found that after, researching online, I was able to find a few answers to my questions, but it wasn't until I started working here at Student Financial Solutions that I actually got a lot of tips and tricks about the different things and just different information that, can help you just ease up on all of the information that can kind of be worrying you. So hopefully this presentation gives you guys a lot of cool information, hopefully, and it kind of explains things a little bit better. Being a student in general is super stressful, and you want to be able to have your financial situation sorted out just to help you guys out with the transition. And don't be afraid to ask any questions. I had a ton of questions transferring, so don't be afraid to put it in the chat. And thank you.
Thank you, Catalina. Really appreciate your insight and great information. I would now like to introduce Francesca Morataya, one of my colleagues here at SFS, who will be giving the actual webinar presentation.
Hi, everyone. Like Andrew said, my name is Francesca. I work at Student Financial Solutions, and I am the Customer Operations and Marketing Analyst here, and I will be presenting during this webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. So on these two, we have listed a number of key terms that you may hear us say throughout the presentation and you may see come up on Triton Link. So the first key term is student account. Your student account is an online breakdown of all things pertaining to your bill. You can access this via Triton Link. We have e-bill, which is short for electronic billing statement. This is going to include a list of all of your transactions, so the charges and credits incurred on your account within the last month. We have balance, which is the total amount that you owe at any given time. Next, we have credit balance, a figure which represents money owed to you and which can be applied to other charges. This number does not represent an amount due and is always reflected as a negative number. TRIP is an acronym for the Triton Registration Installment Plan, and it is the only installment plan available which lets students divide their quarterly tuition and registration fees into 3 monthly installments. Students can enroll for 1 quarter or the entire academic year. And lastly, we have hold. A hold is a restriction placed on your student account preventing specific actions such as registering for classes, making an online payment, receiving financial aid disbursements, etc. So the first topic we'll be going over during this presentation is your student account, what it is and what you can find on it. Your student account is a summary of all things related to UC San Diego billing. You can access your student account by logging into Triton Link, going to Financial Tools, clicking Billing and Payment, and going to the View and Pay Bill page. Or you can simply click on the balance or the account details hyperlink found on the Triton Link landing page. From the View and Pay Bill page, you will be taken to Triton Pay, where you will have access to your electronic bill, view your account balance or credit balance, review holds, and find billing due dates for your balance. It is important to note that while UC San Diego runs on a monthly billing cycle, tuition and registration fees are charged by default on a quarterly basis. This happens shortly after you enroll in your quarterly classes. There are several reasons why we run on a monthly cycle. 1, there is an option to enroll in a monthly payment plan for tuition and registration fees. We'll be getting into that later in the presentation. 2, if you will be living on campus, a monthly payment plan option is offered for housing fees. And 3, students can charge their student accounts with any purchases made at the bookstore, library, Sunshine Market, etc., which will be due on the next billing cycle. As mentioned in the previous slide, there are a couple different options to access your student account. You can click on the account balance or account details, billing and payment, and then go to View and Pay Bill. And if you have holds, they will show up on the box right next to account balance on the Triton Link landing page. This is where you will find all of your current holds. Whereas if you look on Triton Pay, you will only see financial holds that can be cleared by making a payment. You must apply for the health insurance waiver and it must get approved in order for it to display on the student account. While students are allowed to freely roam their student account and contact our office, parents or any other party who may want to access the student account will need to become authorized payers to do so. To add an authorized payer, the student will need to go to their Triton Link, Financial Tools, Billing and Payment, and click on Add an Authorized Payer. They will then enter the authorized payer's first and last name and their email. An email with instructions on how to set up the parent portal account will be sent immediately to that email address. For your information, these emails may appear in the junk folder. Once you are added as an authorized payer, you will have access to the authorized payer portal where you can view and pay the student's bill, review student account activity, update payment profiles and contact information, enroll in the Triton Registration Installment Plan, which is the monthly plan for tuition, and load money into your students' Triton cash accounts. Additionally, you will receive monthly electronic bill notices if there is activity on the account, and you are able to contact our office to ask specific student account questions. So this is the authorized payer portal where payers can log in and view their student's bill. Please note that this portal is different from the student portal. Authorized payers can only access the parent portal, while students can only access their student account via Triton Link. Up next, we will be showing you an in-depth look at Triton Pay, where students can view and pay their bill, view their account history and billing statements, and access resource links. The first area I want to focus your attention is on the alert call-out box. This will notify you of any outstanding balance, if you have a credit balance, or if you have any holds. On the far right side is the button you would click to if you want to make a payment. Next up, you have the account history link where you'll be able to see an itemized breakdown of all of your transactions. Lastly, You have an option to view up to a year's worth of past billing statements. If for whatever reason you need billing statements from before a year ago, you can request them directly through our office. This is your official billing statement. This becomes available to you every month that you have activity on your account. The activity can either be a payment or a charge, so don't be frightened if you receive an e-bill notice and you thought you had made a payment. The top portion has the statement date, your PID, the due date, and the amount due. The bottom will include a breakdown of all charges and payments that have been assessed to your account since the release of the prior month's billing statement. It is important to note that the billing statement is a static statement that is not updated after it's been released. So the amount due at the bottom will not include any payments, waivers, or financial aid that is posted to your account after it is released. If you want an accurate reflection of what is currently due on your account, I recommend that you look at the alert callout box balance on the My Account Summary page via Triton Pay. On the account history page, you have several different viewing options. You can view your statement transactions, which will include all transactions on the billing statement, unpaid transactions, which will show all charges that have not been paid for, or the current month transactions that will show the transactions that have been assessed to your account on this month. If you are enrolled in the monthly installment plan for tuition registration fees, also known as TRIP, you will be able to view the next 2 installments. This will be shown as future TRIP installments on the drop-down menu. We will discuss this payment plan more later during this webinar. Finally, you can view your full account history, which will include all transactions posted to your account since you first began at UC San Diego. You also have the option to download your full account history. If you are a financial aid recipient, the aid may not appear in the billing statement right away. The pending awards are the different financial aid loans, grants, departmental fee payments, or TA fee remissions that you may be receiving for the quarter. Typically, because the awards aren't officially dispersed into your account until it is closer to the due date or after the due date, the pending awards will automatically be taken into account to provide the adjusted balance. If the amount is positive, you must pay that balance by the due date. If the amount is negative, that signifies that the financial aid has paid the entire balance due, and the student will be eligible for a refund for the displayed amount. While pending aid is displayed on your student account, we cannot advise on specific aid amounts or aid changes. We ask that you direct these questions to the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office directly. Now we'll be taking a very short break to answer any questions that you may have put into the Q&A section. Okay, so a question that we've received is, does a parent have to be an authorized payer for international payments? The answer is no. You do not have to be an authorized payer for international payments. You can use Flywire or Western Union. Those are international payment options, and you can do that whether you're a student or a parent. If you're a parent, please be sure that you're an authorized payer, and on the authorized payer portal, you will have the option to pay the bill via Western Union or Flywire. All right, we'll go ahead and continue with the presentation. If you would like to make an e-check or credit card payment, once you select the payment options button, select the first option that reads e-check or credit card to be taken to the custom payments page. Please note that there is an additional 50-cent service fee for e-check payments and an additional 2.75% service fee for credit card payments. The e-check or credit cards must be through a US bank account. The custom payments page presents a number of different payment options. You can choose to select your total account balance. You can pay a percentage of your balance. You can pay a specific amount, or by clicking the Pay Selected Charge button, you can select which specific charge you want to pay for. For example, if you only wanted to pay for tuition and registration fees and not your housing fees, you can do that, or vice versa. If you would like to make an international payment or wire transfer using our international payment partners, which are either Western Union or Flywire, you will select the second option that reads by international wire. The payment confirmation page you are taken to will allow you to make a selection on the two different international payment options. Once you select either Flywire or Western Union, you will be given additional information on each payment method. You can then click on Continue, and that will redirect you to either the Western Union or Flywire sites. Please note that when you select the international payment option, the next screen that you are taken to is the payment confirmation page and not the custom payment page. This occurs because these international payments must be completed on either the Western Union or Flywire sites. As a result, you are unable to make a selected charge payment. However, you are still able to choose the amount that you would like to pay. The only thing you wouldn't be able to do is designate what charges the money is directed towards. Selecting the Flywire option will redirect you to the Flywire website where you can enter the country or region you want to make the payment from, the amount you want to pay, as well as several other steps to complete the payment. Depending on the location and payment method you select, it can take 10 to 12 business days for the payment to post to your student account. With that being said, if you do plan on making an international payment, you should do so with the knowledge that it may take up to 12 business days to post. The university does not accept the date of initiating the payment as the date of payment. It is when it is posted to the student account. When you select the Western Union option, you will be directed to the Western Union website where you can enter the country or region you want to make a payment from, the payment method, and the rest of the information required to successfully make a payment. As with the Flywire option, this international payment method can also take up to 12 business days to post to your student account from the date you originally submit the payment online. Okay, now we'll be taking another quick break to review some of the questions you have submitted through the Q&A feature. All right, so there's a question that reads, what happens if an international student fails to pay his or her bills on time? So if you do not make your tuition and registration fee payment by the billing due date, you are subject to get late fees on your account. These late fees are coming from the registrar's office. So you can get a late registration fee, and that is $50. And if you don't pay by the first day of classes, you are subject to get dropped from your courses. Another question is Triton Pay available through Triton Link? Yes, you can access Triton Pay directly through Triton Link. So once you sign on using your single sign-on on Triton Link, and you are on the Triton Link homepage, you can access Triton Pay by either clicking the balance on the box on the left side, or you can go to the top menu bar, click Financial Tools, Billing and Payment, and then View and Pay Bill, and that's where you would access Triton Pay. Another question is, how often are we going to get charged? Will it be quarterly or can we pay annually? So tuition and registration fees are by default charged quarterly. So fall, winter, and spring. Unfortunately, you cannot pay annually because we charge tuition registration fees quarterly when you enroll for classes. However, if you are living on campus, the housing department does have an option to pay your housing fees annually. You can get more information by contacting the housing department. All right, so I'll stop answering questions. We'll get to some of those later on and continue with the presentation. In recent years, there has been an increase in online scams that target college students by promising a reduction in tuition and registration fees if a third-party service is used to pay their fees. International students have been targeted more frequently, and scammers have especially targeted students using the popular app WeChat. You should also be aware of housing scams, particularly on websites like Craigslist. Certain examples of scams are the following. Advertised pricing is much lower than other similar properties. The person trying to rent you the property claims to be an agent for the property owner who is too busy, out of the country, etc. The owner or renter requires you to sign the lease before you see the rental property, or you are asked to wire the deposit money before you have seen the rental property. So what can you do to protect yourself from these scams? Never share your online credentials or financial information with anyone. Always use official UC San Diego payment methods and do not respond to third-party solicitations about tuition fee payments. UC San Diego does not offer any discounts for tuition or housing fees. If you're an international student who has been targeted, notify the International Student and Programs Office and they will identify helpful resources for you. If you are unable to make a payment using any of the methods described previously, you can make a payment directly to the cashier's office, either by visiting the office in person or mailing in a check. Please note that you can only use the payment options listed on this presentation. So cash, which is made in person only, personal checks, money orders, cashier's checks, or traveler's checks. Checks should always be made payable to UC Regents and include your PID or student ID number. If you will be mailing in a payment, the mailing address is the one you see on the screen, UCSD, Cashier's Office, 9500 Gilman Drive, mail code 0009. It is very important that you include the mail code as it specifies the exact department location in which to send the check to. Please note that due to COVID-19, the cashier's office location is closed until further notice. However, you can drop off your payment using the payment drop box located on the south side of the cashier's office. And lastly, UC San Diego does not accept overpayments. You can only pay for the current charges on your account. 529 payments or college saving funds are prepaid educational savings plans that are set aside for future college costs. The cashier's office processes these payments, and in order to successfully make a payment using these funds, you will need to provide your 529 administrator a billing statement showing your balance, and then provide them with the cashier's office mailing address, as they will need to mail in a check. UC San Diego does not accept electronic payments or wire transfers from 529 plans. The payment must include your PID and your full name. Again, UC San Diego also does not accept overpayments. So the 529 plan administrator cannot mail in a check for the full year. They must send payments each quarter. Third-party sponsored students are those who receive tuition and fee payments from an outside organization. A different office may facilitate third-party billing depending on the sponsor. There are 3 third-party groups, the first being for domestic organizations, for example, other US universities sponsoring the student. Our office, Student Financial Solutions, manages the billing and collection of the fees for these students. Second is international sponsored students by non-US agencies. These accounts are managed by the International Students and Programs Office. Third and last one is students receiving Veteran Affairs benefits. These accounts are managed by the VA coordinator at the registrar's office. If you will be receiving any scholarships from outside agencies, meaning it is not part of your financial aid package, the scholarship agency must send the check directly to our office, so Student Financial Solutions. Once we receive the scholarship, our office will process it, and then it will generate an email to your UC San Diego email address that will let you know that we have received and processed your scholarship. From that point, we send a report to the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office that lets them know that you have a scholarship and that they can now post it to your student account. The entire process, from the time we receive the check to when it is posted to your account, typically takes 5 to 7 business days during a peak time. So beginning of each quarter. If it is not a peak time, it can take 2 to 3 business days. All right, we're going to be going into another break where I'm going to be answering questions. First question is, will my scholarship show up with pending aid? If the scholarship is a UC San Diego type scholarship, so if you accept that award through the financial aid tab on your Triton link, yes, it will show up as pending aid. However, if it is an outside agency scholarship, no, you have to send that scholarship into our office and the financial aid office will then post it to your account, but it will not show up as pending. It's only that which you accept from the financial aid tab on Triton link. Next question is, do we wait until financial aid kicks in before paying tuition? So on your student account via Triton Pay, before the bill is due, you should be able to see your pending awards. These pending awards will include any loans, grants, or scholarships you're receiving from the university. And then the only thing that you have to worry about is the adjusted balance due. If the adjusted balance due is positive, you will make a payment out of pocket. If it is 0, you don't have to pay anything. If it's negative, that means you're going to get a refund. So it just depends whether you have enough pending aid to cover your entire balance. And you'll find that on Triton Pay. All right, so we'll get back to the presentation. Student Financial Solutions also encompasses the Campus Cards Office, which is responsible for issuing student ID cards. If you will be living on campus, the ID card will be preloaded with dining dollars, which you can use at the various college dining halls and markets. Additionally, you have the option to load Triton Cash into the card. Authorized payers can also load Triton Cash money onto the card via the Authorized Payer portal. Triton Cash can be used at the Price Center and a number of approved restaurants and markets outside of campus. You can also use your student ID card to pay for items at the bookstore, Sunshine Market, and campus printers, and these charges will be assessed to your student account. You can pay them off via Triton link once the charge is available for viewing in the billing statement. It is important to note that the purchases you make with your student ID card, whether it be a laptop or a book, will be due on the next billing cycle. For example, if you purchase something on September 15th, it will be due on the October billing due date. Next up, we'll be going over the Triton Registration Installment Plan, which is the monthly payment plan we have for tuition and registration fees. TRIP will allow you to pay for your tuition and registration fees in 3 monthly installments instead of having to pay the lump sum at the beginning of each quarter. There is no interest associated with enrolling in TRIP. There's only a one-time $40 fee, which will be charged each quarter you utilize this option and will be due with the first payment of your first monthly installment. This means you will not need to make the full tuition payment by the quarterly due date. This is a great option for students not receiving enough financial aid to cover all of their tuition and registration fees. It is also a great option for those who simply want to split up their payments. There are a couple of reasons you won't be able to enroll in TRIP. You may have enough financial aid to cover all of your tuition registration fees, or you have a hold on your account. Please note that being enrolled in a monthly housing installment plan will not impact your eligibility to enroll in TRIP. TRIP is only available for fall, winter, and spring quarters. You cannot enroll during summer sessions. You can enroll via Triton link or the Authorized Payer portal. Typically, you can enroll in TRIP about a month before the first due date of the quarter. For each quarter's specific date, please refer to the TRIP page on our website. TRIP covers only tuition, non-residential tuition, registration fees, and student health insurance. So basically, it will combine all of those fees and divide them into 3 monthly installments. For example, for fall 2020, if you enroll in TRIP, you will pay for 1/3 of your tuition and registration fees on the September billing due date. The second installment will be due in October, and the last installment will be due on the November due date. TRIP does not cover housing or other miscellaneous fees. However, if you wanted to pay for housing fees on a monthly basis, given that you live on campus, you can change your housing plan via the housing portal. UC San Diego issues refunds to students who have made a cash/check overpayment, receive excess financial aid, make a credit card overpayment, receive a housing credit, or receive stipends. Refunds must be requested from our office via the Services and Support portal. These refunds are issued under the student's name, regardless of who made the original payment. To find out if you have a refund available on your account, you will need to go onto Triton link and then Triton Pay. From the My Account Summary page on Triton Pay, the alert banner will state that there is a credit balance available. If there is a credit balance available, you can contact our office or visit our office to initiate the refund. Please note that financial aid refunds are typically dispersed automatically within 2 to 3 business days of the credit appearing on your account. Any available credit that is not used to pay for charges will be refunded automatically 90 days following the date of payment. Once the credit is refunded, meaning you no longer have a credit on your account, it will appear on the account history page under the charge column as a FinAid RFN. It might be also a cash check refund, stipend, or housing transaction. The reason why the transaction will display under the charge column is because when a refund is initiated, it is a negative credit balance, and that needs to be offset by a positive charge, meaning it left your account. You can receive your refund in a variety of ways. The recommended option is direct deposit transfer to a bank account. This will only occur if you have enrolled in direct deposit via Triton link. This will require that you either have a US checking or savings account. If a student does not enroll in direct deposit, the paper check will be mailed to your current mailing address, which is usually where the student resides while attending the university. If there is no active current mailing address, it will be sent to the permanent mailing address, which is usually the family's address. When a graduate student is awarded monthly stipends and is not enrolled in direct deposit, checks will be sent to the student's graduate department. If the refund originates from a credit card transaction, the refund will be sent back to that same credit card. Please note that parents cannot request refunds on behalf of students. As mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, UC San Diego runs on a monthly billing cycle. So while you are charged by default on a quarterly basis, there are other purchases or charges you may incur that are due on a monthly billing cycle. For fall quarter, which is comprised of September, October, and November, each month has a different billing due date. The September billing due date is when your tuition and registration fees, as well as housing if you live on campus, will be due. If you are paying for your full tuition and registration fees, as well as your housing for the quarter in September, you do not have to worry about the October or November billing due dates unless you charge something to your account during the middle of the quarter. Also, it's worth mentioning if you have outside health insurance, for example, if you are on your parents' plan, you can apply to waive USHIP. USHIP is the university's health insurance plan. You can apply via Triton link by going to the Financial Aid Tools tab and then clicking the Health Insurance Waiver option. Lastly, how do you contact us? If you have specific questions regarding your student account, do not hesitate to contact our team by either submitting a ticket using the UC San Diego Services and Support portal or by sending an email to sfs@ucsd.edu if you cannot use the portal. You can also find various knowledge-based articles via the UC San Diego Services and Support portal, whether you are a student, parent, or UCSD community member. Please follow us on Instagram at UCSD-SFS, and you can find updates and stay connected with our team. We also encourage you to visit our resources page to find detailed information on a lot of our services.
All right, so before we answer a couple other questions, I'm going to let Francesca catch her breath, maybe grab a sip of water. I also want to just put on the screen briefly a list of other resources that are helpful to have. You don't need to write these links down right now. Again, the slideshow and the presentation will be available on our website in a week or two max. I just want to encourage everyone to utilize these links as you see fit because there is a lot of good information there. So I'm going to start asking some questions that we've received both in this webinar as well as some past webinars, which might be helpful for everyone to hear. And then I'll ask Francesca to speak to the answers. So the first question, do students or authorized payers get notified that they're eligible for a refund?
The answer is no. You will not get notified if there is a refund on your account. However, if you monitor your Triton Pay account, on the alert call out box, it will show that you have a credit balance available. So it is important. If you think that you have a credit balance or if you made an overpayment, that you monitor that periodically to see if there's anything that is available to be refunded to you. If you do see that, you can contact our office again by going to the UC San Diego Services and Support portal or by emailing us directly at sfs@ucsd.edu to request a refund.
All right, before I ask the next question, before I forget, I do want to post a second poll that I'd like to have everyone complete. It's very quick, another 3 questions. So if you would please complete that. As you're doing so, I'll go ahead and move on to the next question, which is what late fees does Student Financial Solutions charge?
So we have a number of late fees, the first being a $25 statement late fee, and that will be charged if you have any outstanding miscellaneous fees on your account. Miscellaneous fees could be parking permits, bookstore charges, Sunshine Market charges, anything that doesn't encompass housing or tuition registration fees. We also have the $50 trip late fee. This will be charged to your account if you do not pay the first, second, or third trip installment by the billing due dates.
All right, thank you, Francesca. Next question. Can you pay your bill with direct deposit or automatic withdrawal from your bank?
No. The only reason we ask you to set up your direct deposit account is so we can send refunds to that account. We will never automatically withdraw money from your account. You have to go into Triton Pay and initiate a payment anytime you want to make a payment.
All right, so speaking of direct deposit, can you enroll in direct deposit with a bank account outside the US?
No, it must be a US bank account.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about how negative balances will be distributed to students? I know we spoke about refunds a little bit, but I just want to touch on that again since we are getting those questions.
Sure, so a negative balance, meaning there is a credit balance that is owed to you, will be distributed to either your direct deposit account, and again, you do have to request it from our office. So if you're enrolled in direct deposit, once you request it, it will be sent directly to that bank account. Or if you're not enrolled in direct deposit, that negative balance will be refunded as a paper check to your current mailing address, or if that's not active, to your permanent mailing address. And I do want to mention, I misspoke earlier. If you are a graduate student who is receiving monthly stipends and are not enrolled in direct deposit, you will receive your paper check to your current mailing address, not to your graduate department.
All right, so if I have a charge on my account, will I be automatically notified, or do I need to monitor my account to be aware of the charges?
So the only notification that you'll get is your electronic billing notice that is sent to your UCSD email at the beginning of every month. And that will include any charges or credits that you have on your account. However, if you incur a charge in the middle of the month, you will not receive a notification. So it is important that you monitor your account on a periodic basis.
Are dining dollars and Triton cash available to students who live off campus?
Yes, so Triton Cash, you can load money onto via the Triton Card Account Services website. And there's such a thing called community dining dollars, which you can also load onto your student account. So these are essentially dining dollars for students who don't live on campus. So you can take your ID card and pay with these community dining dollars at the various college markets or dining halls.
And how is tuition charged if you are not enrolled in TRIP?
Tuition is charged on a quarterly basis. So for example, fall 2020, you will see a list of your tuition and registration fees beginning late August. So if you log on to your Triton Pay account, you'll be able to see those. And then you will receive the official billing statement early September. So it's either the second or third day of the month. And then same thing with winter quarter and spring quarter. They'll show up on your account right before the beginning of that quarter.
All right, so that concludes the questions that we have received. Again, I want to encourage everyone to complete that poll if you have not already done so. I also want to just briefly speak to another new contact method that we're currently trying to develop, which are going to be virtual office hours. We hope to roll out this contact method sometime in the next couple of weeks, and I would encourage everyone to monitor our website for more information about how to communicate with us via these virtual office hours. As we draw closer to the fall, we fully expect there to be an increase in questions and inquiries regarding students' bills, and we want to be available to all our students and parents as much as possible. So we hope that this new communication feature will be a positive to those who we serve. So again, please monitor our website. Our website has a ton of really great information, some information that we've covered tonight, in addition to some other information that is equally useful and helpful. Lastly, again, if you would like to contact us, I'm going to put our contact information back up on the screen. Just give me one moment. So we have the UC San Diego Service and Support Portal, as well as our email, mostly for parents, sfs@ucsd.edu. We strongly encourage anyone to reach out to us at any point if you have any questions. We do ask that you have some patience in our response, as we do anticipate many inquiries over the next couple of weeks and into the fall, but we will do our very best to respond to everyone just as quickly as possible. I'm actually being told we have 2 more questions. So Francesca, I'm going to turn it over to you to answer those questions.
Yeah, so the first question is, how much time in advance do we have to pay our balance until it's due? So once you see the list of tuition, registration, or housing fees on your account, you can pay right away. As long as you pay before the billing due date, you are good to go. So it's really up to you when you want to make the payment, but just keep in mind you do have to pay before the billing due date. The next question is, I am not sure if you answered this question before. If we miss a deadline, does that mean that we cannot enroll into the next quarter? So that question is complicated. If you miss your tuition registration fee payment, the first thing that will happen is you will get late fees from the registrar's office. If you don't pay by the first day of classes, you might get dropped. But even if you are dropped, you can still re-enroll. if you don't make a payment once you re-enroll within the next week or so, you may get holds on your account. Those holds will prevent you from registering for classes. So just make sure that you're making a payment before the first day of classes to ensure that you're either not dropped or to get holds on your account. Another question is there a parent login available on Triton Link? Yes, so you can find the link to the parent portal via our website, or you can just Google UCSD authorized payer portal. And that first link that comes up should take you to the portal where you can access your student's bill, assuming that you're an authorized payer.
All right, so that's going to go ahead and conclude our questions. Again, thank you to everyone who chose to spend some of their time with us tonight. We hope that you found this webinar very helpful and informative. We will be sending out the link to this webinar and the corresponding script on our website. That should be posted within the next week or two on our resources page. Again, really want to encourage you to check out our website. Extremely helpful, a lot of really good information. And we hope you have a great rest of your summer. Stay safe, be well, and we look forward to serving you all in the near future.